You really didn't get it, did you? Ever experienced that time when you visited a friend to their house and then you suddenly saw. Yep, that is one of the common sounds you'll hear when you are new to a place and there's a dog present in the area. It might be your friend's dog or another's dog nearby, but the reaction will be pretty much the same. This is pretty normal behavior for a dog to bark at you, since generally in situations like this, you are being seen as a threat. Well, you aren't a threat, right? Right? Other examples such as a rooster making sounds early in the morning, a blessing for early birds, and a curse for non-early people like me. And yes, I wish I could sleep all day. These are what we call animal behavior, or in a more fancy way, ethology. Oh, and if you may wonder, the person who studies such is called an ethologist. These behaviors are a product of morphology, the physical structure of the specific animal, and physiology, the function of the said physical part. Like, you can't scare away a fish when it is on the ground, it would just keep on flopping through instinct. And this was made possible as they would try to move their tails, hoping to fall to a nearby body of water, since they can't breathe, as they have no lungs, and their gills only works underwater. Poor fish. We can take note from this that all behaviors have a purpose to the organism. The dog barking at you may be a sign of it being scared or trying to protect something. Like their puppies. Even as a human, I would protect these cute little doggos. Anyways, now that you know why dogs bark at you, no matter how pretty or handsome you are, and especially why is it important to not go near them or run, as it will arouse one of its innate behaviors of chasing something that is scared to do. Run like the wind, bullseye! Innate behaviors already exist the day an organism was born into this world. This simply means that these types of behavior are already present without the influence of other organisms. A hen would already know how to lay their eggs by pure instinct, or spiders making their houses with similar patterns despite being different from each other. Ducklings following their mother is not an innate behavior. However, ducklings by instinct have no recognition of their parent and will follow anyone they saw first, thinking it is their own mother. There was actually a study back then that what if these ducklings saw a human first rather than their biological mother? It was that proof that these little cute things started to ignore their mother and followed the human.
And I was coming by this way, and this squad of ducklings came out of nowhere, right? I didn't want to hurt them, so I just stopped over and tried to push them somewhere else. And now they imprinted on me. And now, see, watch this, watch this, watch this, watch this. They just follow me. Like they think I'm their mom.
This is called imprinting. Don't let it mix up with innate behavior. In humans, innate behavior is like a baby already knowing how to grab things by their hand. How about when babies started to talk or walk? Well, this is not an innate behavior. In fact, it is taught to them by people around them to be able to do these things. This would not be possible if a baby was alone in the woods, putting predators and other dangers aside. Ever heard of Tarzan, raised by monkeys? See my point at? Anyways, these are what we call learned behavior. And we are going to talk about it right after our sponsor. Just kidding. This video isn't sponsored. I can't wish this. Learned behavior is acquired by organisms as someone else teaches them. Like how a bird would teach their young ones to fly. A lion teaches its cub how to hunt prey. Or a dog that knows where to poo or pee because their human told them to. Just kidding. It was trained by their humans. Pet owners. Oh, that's cool. Animals can learn a lot, either from their parents or from others, like us humans. Like, look, this monkey is learning from this human. Well, yeah, about that. In this scenario, the monkey curiously observes the human and tries to imitate the same action. This is what we call observational learning. There's another one called fixed action pattern, where an example of this is when you walk near a stray cat, it usually would run away, right? But over time, as you kept walking past the cat repeatedly over and over again, eventually it will no longer see you as a threat. And it won't run away compared to your first encounter. Not to be confused with habituation, where it is a learned behavior by receiving the same stimuli over and over again. Like how a dog would know when to come at you, knowing there will be food as you repeatedly whistle when you're about to feed your cute doggo. Bruno! yeah, I don't know how to do it. I'm just gonna put your food back here, okay? Animals can also learn through trial and error, or a more complex one like insight. Trial and error in the name itself is found on these cats from this video from Munchkin back in 2020 on YouTube. Here we can see they set up some sort of thin layered plastic as a wall, and the cats were figuring out how to pass through. And eventually, with so many attempts, one of the cats was able to finally pass through. I'll put the link down in the description below if you want to see the full video. Insight, on the other hand, is when animals eventually can solve more complex problems, if given enough time. These are actually more common in smarter animals like dolphins, chimpanzees, elephants, or squirrels. Speaking of squirrels, there's this video from Mark Rober on YouTube about these adorable rodents. He built a fun maze full of obstacles and puzzles for our little intelligent buddies, where the end goal for them is to have a ton of walnuts as a prize. In this video, you can see all the previous behavior mentioned, all the way back from innate behavior, such as Mark pointed out one of them, which is...
As you can see here, they make their bodies super flat to increase drag, effectively becoming their own parachute.
To insight, as in Mark Rober's control center, where one of the squirrels managed to figure out the switch for their access to the next level. Go check out Mark Roberts' video about these squirrels, lots of puzzles and mazes, in the description down below. Of course, based on all we have just talked about, these behaviors are learned through proximate causes or through certain stimuli and their functions. But we should also know that aside from these proximate causes, these behaviors have also ultimate causes, which is how would this contribute to the organisms for mating and for their survival and therefore their evolutionary history. An example of this would be some whales tend to produce a sound, which is actually singing mating songs to attract nearby female whales to mate. Stimuli, no songs. Function, to mate. Easy, right? In this case, the whale that can do this thing the most efficiently will be the one who can attract its mate better than any other whales in the sea, producing such offspring with the same trait, yada yada, you know the story. Yikes! Yeah, that's a praying mantis killing its very own mate after mating. Now you may be wondering, why would it be killing its mate after mating? It makes no sense. Why? Well, it does make sense for your being. As we mentioned earlier, all of these behaviors serve a purpose. These go back to the two important types of functions for these behaviors: eating and mating. Yep, that's it. I mean, there's more, but these are usually the most important. Take this spider as an example. It feeds on insects like mosquitoes and flies in our house, but it doesn't just go around chasing flying insects in our house. They would just simply wait in their webs until one of the flies would fly directly into their plates. As for the praying mantis, the female consumes their partner after mating with them. Cruel fate as it may seem, these would only occur when the female has a lack of nutrients for herself due to scarcity of food, and sometimes the male partner would even fight back. Thus, this is unlikely, yet still can happen. Going out from the insect and arachnid section, an alligator snapping turtle is one of the examples that have their food sources exploited. By them, of course, while exerting the least amount of effort. That would be just be still in the water and opens their mouth as they simply wait for food. Of course, they have their pinkish tongue sticking out, wiggling as a lure. These fishes will never know what's coming. And that's pretty much it for the behaviors of our animal friends. You should have learned something by now. Right? Of course you do. Anyways, thanks for watching. But if you're really serious, then I don't know what to do with you. Aside from pressing that replay button.